Good afternoon. The Memphis Landmarks Commission is hereby called to order for its regularly scheduled meeting of March, 23rd, 2023. My name is Joy Doss, and I am the Vice Chair of the Commission. Mr. Brett Ragsdale serves as the Executive Secretary of the Commission. Mr. Ragsdale, may I get a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Gill?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Warren?
Here.
Chair Doss.
Present.
We have a quorum.
The Memphis Landmarks Commission and the local historic district provisions are established to ensure preservation of structures that are of historic value to Memphis. Our function is to preserve significant resources, enhance community pride, and foster civic beauty, and ensure compatibility within designated historic districts. The Commission is authorized to review projects and determine their appropriateness based on the design review guidelines. At this time, I would like to swear in staff. You may remain seated. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. May I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Mr. Secretary, please provide a secretary's report if there is one this month, then explain the procedure for this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a report, but I do have an announcement, and I wanted to announce that one of our fellow commissioners, Mr. Warren, this is his last meeting after serving a 5-year term. His obligations otherwise are taking him away from us, and we are sad to see that because he's given us a lot of very thoughtful and
Yes.
assistance through the 5 years.
Thoughtful assistance.
In details.
Yes.
So thank you, Commissioner Warren. We appreciate that, and I look forward to you coming before the commission with your own projects. So we can really
Yes, sir.
have fun.
I appreciate those words. Thank you. I'll miss you guys. I'll see you from the other side.
Thanks.
Thank you, Peter, for your service. Good luck and Godspeed to you.
And I will.
May I have a motion? Oh, I'm
I'll
sorry.
explain the procedure for this.
Oh,
meeting.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I got off a little track.
Go ahead.
So the procedure for this meeting will be as follows. I will introduce each case as listed on the agenda. Copies of the agenda are found on the right podium. For each case, staff at the Division of Planning and Development will give a presentation. At the conclusion of the staff presentation, the applicant will have a 5-minute to present their case. After the applicant's presentation, the commission will hear from those speakers in support of the application, then from those speakers in opposition to the application, and these speakers will have 3 minutes each. And then finally, the applicant will have a 3-minute rebuttal period. These times do not include time for questions from and answers to members of the commission. The chair may provide additional time, provided both sides are given an equal amount of additional time. All parties who wish to provide testimony to the commission will be sworn in by the chair. If a member of the audience wishes to provide testimony in support of or in opposition to a particular case on today's agenda, he or she will need to fill out speaker's cards for the record. Speaker's cards are available at the front podium. Once filled out, speaker's cards can be submitted to any DPD planner at the left podium. We do not need speaker's cards from those applicants since their names are already part of the record. After all parties have been heard, the commission will close the public hearing, make a motion, and then deliberate on the case. All motions made by this commission will be made in the affirmative. The bylaws governing the commission require the affirmative vote of a majority of the attending members to approve an application. The commission may also vote to hold an application for a period of 1 month. Madam Chair, I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order, all applicants have been notified of this hearing, and all notice requirements have been fulfilled.
Thank you, Mr. Ragsdale. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as established by the secretary? Once you give us a consent agenda, please. Thank you.
And so the items that are eligible for consent are item number 2, COA 2023-010946 Seattle Street. Item number 3, COA 2023-011319 Garland Street. Item number 6, COA 2023-016 707 Adams Avenue. Item number 7, COA 2023-017 323 North Willette Street. And item number 9, COA 2023-021, 251 North Watkins Street.
Thank you. Now, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you.
And Madam Chair, our first case that we will hear is item number 1, COA 2023-006, 1720 Euclid Avenue.
Okay, Mr. Britton,
Yes, ma'am.
please state your address for the record.
My address, 9025 Gandy Drive.
Okay, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Dawes.
Okay. Have you had a chance to read the staff report?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you agree with the recommendations and conditions?
I agree with them, but majority of them is hard for me financially.
And Madam Chair, on this one, we actually did not make a recommendation, so we did have, we have some recommendations for consideration. But we don't have a recommendation or approval or rejection, so it's really, I think, a discussion.
Okay.
that You guys would,
So do we want to open this up to discussion? Can we hear the report?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Aisha Penzas with the Division of Planning and Development. This case is a held item. The application is for exterior alterations to changes to a previously approved COA at 1720 Euclid Avenue. And if you remember the last month's meeting, I pointed out some issues that we saw that the changes that were made during construction after the COA was approved. And we actually gave feedback to the applicant, and I believe they changed the columns already, which was an issue. And there's a picture in the staff report as well as the presentation showing the tapered columns that were installed for the porch and the carport, which match the original approval of the COA. So here are some pictures showing the existing condition of the structure. And I'll go real quickly over what was different between the original COA and the constructed structure. First thing was the applicant changed the exterior material of the front dormer and did not apply the brackets to the dormer roof. The porch columns were different, but the applicant corrected that. Exterior material of the front facade is brick, which was approved as horizontal siding. On the side elevation, the ground floor has missing window openings, as well as the siding material is different than what's originally approved. And the rear addition is designed differently, different than the original COA approval. So here are some more details. And we did not make any recommendation, and we defer to the commission to whatever action you deem advisable. But if approved, we had some conditions for you to consider. One of them was the columns to be installed in accordance with the original COA, which the applicant already did. And I believe that concludes my presentation.
Did anyone have questions for staff? Nope. Mr. Britton, did you have anything you'd like to say?
Well, this is my first house I did through the Landmark Commission, and it was a learning experience. I value all y'all opinions, and I appreciate the input, but, I mean, so many words, I mean, I wasn't doing this house with the intentions on selling it or make the neighborhood look bad. I do intend on staying in it, and I would like to keep it the way it is, but I understand that I can't.
Okay, did anybody have questions for Mr. Britton? Seeing none, we'll move to discussion. We'll close this phase and move to discussion. Anybody? Questions? Oh, yes. We need a motion, right?
Yeah, for the purposes
Sorry.
of discussion, I move to approve case COA 2023-006. Full stop.
Okay. Motion has been approved and properly seconded. We can move to discussion. Got it?
Sure, I'll open with some comments. I think my position last month rather, was, I guess conciliatory is a way to put it. I'm trying to see the forest through the trees and trying to, I mean, I understand there's a disconnect, somewhat egregious, right, between the drawings and the house itself, but I guess my position, and I don't actually, let me back up, that does matter. This process exists for a reason, and I think Mr. Britton needs to take heed of it, and I work in the building realm. It's really a matter of talking to everyone who's going to work on a house. It's not always entirely in your control. Maybe it's the framer who messed up, for example, or the door vendor, or the window vendor, but I think this process matters, and it needs to be respected. That said, I guess my personal take, the best way to put it is if you drew this house in black and white and went back in time and submitted it as it's mostly built, I'm confident we would have approved it. I guess I'm speaking now to my fellow commissioners. I know that's caused a lot of brain damage to staff and one or two commissioners, but I think this is a significant investment in a spot that needed it. And I think it's a handsome, for the most part, a handsome project and good for the street. I guess on the recommendations, I think it needs brackets, but not, I guess, it does need the 3 brackets, but I'm not in favor of removing the brick or, also appreciate the recent effort in the last 4 weeks, apparently, to taper the columns, bring them in alignment with the drawings.
Anybody else?
Probably more pushing forward. I don't need this to carry on. Did staff make an agreement with Mr. Britton?
We did have, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We did have a few discussions and discussed some things and feel like, the columns were a big part of what we felt we were going to make a difference. And we thought that if we could see that by this meeting, which he did accomplish, which, we feel like was a big step forward. And so, and I do think that there's a dialogue now that if there is a future project that we will all be very diligent to stay in touch and informed, and so that we make sure that the approved drawings are followed. So we're definitely more comfortable than we were at the last meeting. And if I'm speaking for Ms. Penzis as well. So.
The conditions that need to be added to his approval that were agreed to? Or can we go ahead and vote on the current conditions that are in?
Well, and before we do, Peter mentioned Peter talked about the brick being removed. So do we want to strike that?
I think, yeah, I mean, that would be mine. I'm happy to amend my motion with that.
Well, and just to be clear, we don't have.
Right, and I
because we
will
didn't make a
phrase,
recommendation,
right, I
so-
will create conditions.
Yeah, so like you mentioned the brackets, if that is something that you wanted to do,
brackets
you
are
would
here.
need to add that as a condition, but currently there are no conditions on, to Mr. Gill's question, I believe, there is nothing that we have agreed to that we would feel like needed to be added as a condition. So-
But as of now, we're going along with the recommendations that Ms. Penzis has made and deciding about how to word the condition about the brick, correct?
Correct, I think that's where we are.
Okay.
Anybody
Peter?
else? Feeling like there's more to discuss, or feel I'm, okay. Okay, I would like to withdraw and or revise my original motion, and I would submit a motion to approve case COA 2023-006, subject to the following conditions. All setbacks should conform to meet the UDC requirements prior to issuance of the COA, perhaps as enumerated by the hypothetical conditions here. And that bracket details shall be added to the front dormer as shown in the original application, 2021-2002. And that, lastly, any changes or deviations from the approved COA shall be submitted to the.
We're good, Mr. Rexel? Okay. All righty, so we need a second?
Second.
Okay. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Cox?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Walker? Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Chair Doss?
Yes,
Motion carries.
it's approved.
No,
Thank you.
Congratulations, Peter.
Thank you.
The next case is COA 2023-012, 297 North Willette Street in the Evergreen Historic District. The applicants are Jim and Mary Ann Thompson. And it's a request for site improvements to install a side yard fence retroactively. The applicant's here.
Actually, that case is held because the applicant is not here. So
Okay.
I apologize. So we only have one more case, and that is number 5.
Okay. All right, so our last case will be COA 2023-015, 775 Tanglewood Avenue in the Cooper Young Historic District. The applicant is Max Elkington, and the request is for exterior alterations to changes to a previously approved COA, which is COA 2022-069. Hello. Hello, how are you?
Good.
Okay, please state your address for the record, please.
4937 Roan Road.
Okay, and can you raise your right hand, both of you? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And I guess we'll need to enter your address into the record as well, if you're a speaker. And your name.
I'm Selden Montgomery. My address is 2639 Central Avenue.
Thank you. Okay, have you read the staff report?
Yes.
Do you agree with the recommendations?
No.
Okay, so I guess we will be hearing this case.
Well, and again, this is similar to the last case, so we didn't make a recommendation.
Okay.
There are things that we listed, so whatever needs to be added, needs to be added as
Okay.
conditions.
All right,
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. This application is for exterior alterations for changes to a previously approved COA at 775 Tanglewood Avenue in Cooper Young Historic District. This is the structure that has been originally in a bad condition from January 2022. And the applicant actually obtained a COA on July 28th, 2022 for exterior alterations to convert the abandoned church to a single-family home. And the building permit was issued on September of 2022 in accordance with the COA approval. So applicant significantly altered the exterior details during construction, and complaints were made to our office. And to go over the changes that we actually noted when we did a site visit, is that the proposed front door is different than what was originally approved. Front steps were changed during construction. The original approval included cement parging for the front steps, and the existing is brick. One window opening is enclosed on the left elevation. However, approval did not include this enclosed original opening. Another window on the right elevation, also enclosed, which was not enclosed in the original approval document. Existing roof detail above the front stoop is different than what was approved in the original COA. The louvers are enclosed with hardy board, which was approved as a metal louvers in the original COA. So to summarize, we did a site visit on February 9th, 2023, and saw that 2 windows are filled, one on each side elevation. Existing louver openings are filled in with hardy siding, which was approved as metal louvers. Existing roof over the front steps is significantly different than what was approved in the original COA. Front steps material is different, and the front doors are significantly different than what was approved. So the staff does not make any recommendation, and we will defer to the commission and their decision, whatever is deemed advisable. However, if approved, we recommend 4 conditions for you to consider. First, the openings that were filled in on each side elevation shall be reopened to have windows to match the existing. The roof of the front steps shall be a hipped roof as shown as in the approval documents of COA 2022-069 and the building permit. All openings on the front and side elevations, which originally had louvers, shall be infilled with metal louvers, as shown on the approval documents of the COA and the building permit. And exterior stone facade shall be cleaned and repaired and shall not be painted. So this concludes my presentation. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions for Ms. Pences? Okay. To the applicant, what would you like to say?
Can you pull up page 4 on the presentation? Or just like the original front when I bought it. I think it was 4, right there. Okay, that's when I bought the church. That's how it started out. So I don't know if anybody's been involved in a remodel project, but this has been a pretty significant one. We basically like reframed the entire thing from the inside out and like like any of these changes that I've made, I've done them for nothing to like get in trouble and get here or anything. It's been more to like for functionality, that kind of thing. Not cutting corners or anything like that. But like, for example, one of the items on here is these louvers. It's like when I bought the place, there weren't even louvers. They don't really serve a purpose. The front entry of the building is 2 stories high. So like louvers are for ventilation and not, I mean, they just don't serve a purpose. So we filled them in. And those 2 windows that are filled in right there, those are the original, when you walked into the church, it was like a bathroom on either side, like a his and her bathroom. So when I bought the place, it was already kind of boarded up. The 2 windows that I've covered up, one of them I did it because I added like an electrical fireplace. And then the other one, my original drawings, like as-built drawings, there was a wall for the new floor plan that actually ran right into the middle of the window that was there. So it would have just been like a fake window there if I had put it in. It just wouldn't have made very much sense. So I filled it in. I mean, I built a lot of houses around town, and when you run into a situation, people do like false shutters in a situation like that, or, you know, do what I did. At the end of the day, it's all going to get painted and kind of blend in. And I really don't think aesthetically it's terrible. The other thing, the front porch with the hip, I tried to do the hip as we were framing, and the stone on this place is real tenuous. It's kind of interesting because the Christie Cutstone stone yard used to be right next to this, and the church members actually got leftover stone from the stone yard, and they weren't like master masons or anything. They basically just like put this thing together on the weekends. So it's not very, I mean, it's just very tenuous, I would say. So when we went to go frame that front porch, my guys were basically like, hey, Griffin, the way the floor levels out with the front porch, we're gonna have to knock out some stone in order to do that. And they were like, we could do a gable and mirror the pitch of the front gable above the crucifix instead, and you wouldn't have to rip out stone, and you could vault the ceiling, so when you walk in, there's not a ceiling over your head. So that's why we did that. With regard to the brick steps, I mean, brick is nicer than concrete. I just noticed this for the first time, but it said cement parging. I mean, really and truly, you could just rub mortar on it to achieve that look, because that's what parging is mortar. So, I mean, I don't have a problem doing that to the steps. What else? What else am I in trouble for? And then I got approved originally to be able to paint the stone. I haven't decided if I'm going to paint it or not, but that wasn't on my original COA. That just kind of got thrown in there this time. What else? Oh, the metal, was that on here? That's not on here though. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Griffin, what's the final, we have an elevation of what the final version might look like? And this is like day one.
That was
This is what
day
happens when, like,
one.
when you bought it. But do we have any progress photos or like an elevation of what it might look like when?
I could I've got them on my phone. I could email one real fast. Or there was a couple just on the staff report with
It's part of.
yeah, like more detailed shots there.
If you have the photos in this, right?
What was it you're asking for?
I just wanted to see the final vision. I see what was approved, but I didn't, I get a sense that the final vision might look a little bit better than I envisioned it looking, even with the changes. Unlike Mr. Britton that was in here, I think you find things when you start working on existing structure, unlike Mr. Britton, who just ignored his COA and just built a house ground up, not to what.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean,
Here, I've got one right here I can email.
Sure, I just look at it on your phone. Go ahead, Jeff.
Who do I send it to? Jeffrey?
I'm sorry.
That's right. So I've got questions for the applicant, if I may. So what, who did your drawings?
I used a draftsman. His name's Tom Buddha. What is it? It's Garda Design Group.
Okay, and what was you're the developer, were you the general contractor?
Right.
You're a contractor as well?
Yes.
Okay. I'll start with I know this is really comment for you. I'm completely aware of being challenging, and it's a special building. I'm not saying special like I put it on some pedestal. It's a unique building. It's not a gym, maybe, but it's it's a midtown. It's a midtown landmark, even in its out of the way weird location. If you're a Cooper Young person, this is a midtown landmark. So I want to start by commending you for taking on a difficult project. I see, you put limestone into your project, which, and I see the photos before and after. I'm aware of the expense and challenges. But I guess I want to take this opportunity to, caution you about, or a certain tone that you struck was like you were explaining this to us and staff and us up here. We know this is hard. And when you're going to run into 100 things that you don't anticipate, but some of them I would encourage you to call on OPD because they're going to work with you, right? Like when you make the case correctly that the louvers weren't doing anything. My first question is why were they illustrated in the first place? But also just like call staff and say, hey, I don't want to do louvers. And, Mr. Ragsdale is an architect. Margot Payne, who's not here, has a master's degree in historic preservation. Like, they're going to work with you and help you make your project better. Right. And we can avoid all this with a series of incremental staff-approved changes that we wouldn't even be here because you would have had those conversations. Right. I don't see I fully intend to support and endorse your canopy the gable change. Like when I reviewed this prior to our meeting, I thought, well, it looks like it has the same slope as the pediment up there. And but just, I guess, more of a comment than a question, just, shoot them an email and even if it ends up being 10 or 12 separate emails over the course of the project, if they're just little softballs, y'all can pitch and catch together, and we don't end up back here with you saying, "What else am I in trouble for?" Like we don't want to I don't find it like that.
That's right.
It's like, yeah, and I also don't want to lose sight of the big picture. Like crazy challenging little project that was or worse 12 months ago, right? So I don't know. I guess we need a motion, or anybody else have questions for applicant?
Well, we need to decide what recommendations, which one we keep.
We don't have a motion yet. Right?
Yeah, we don't have a motion, but we need to decide
If anybody,
for discussion.
Address.
if anybody wants to have any more questions for the applicant.
Are we done with questions, guys? Okay. So we're going to close this part of the hearing and move to the discussion phase. Can I get a motion, please?
Sure. I move to approve case 2023-015 for the purposes of discussion.
Second.
Okay.
So I guess since I was just talking, I'll wrap up. I strayed into some discussion on the last part. I apologize. I think that there's not, the windows to me being filled in, and if I understand correctly, the front of the building has windows on either side of the entrance, and those are, in fact, windows.
They are now.
Yeah.
They were.
You just got to nod.
This is a bathroom.
You just give me a
Okay.
nonverbal, Yeah, so there's one window on each side, which to me, it's like, I think we put a shutter on it, you know, or I think I'm speaking to, you know, to you guys, if, you know, so it's not just a piece of smooth hardy panel, but like, you know, I hate to say the word plantation shutter, but a shutter, you know, something that gives it a little relief and interest.
They're called.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's what it's called.
Why are they called that? Anyway, a wooden shutter. And the same on the, you know, the 2 square voids up high, it actually would become, look, in this old photograph, this over here on the side little square has some kind of shutters. I don't know what's there now, but the point is when you do one, it's kind of an accident. You do 2, 3, or 4, it starts to be a theme. So maybe it could be a relatively inexpensive compromise if you guys think. I've stated my opinion on the entrance. I really don't have many issues with the
I don't have
entrance.
an issue with the entrance.
Neither do I.
Let me see. Let's see. I mean, that's all we're talking about.
And then, metal louvers, okay, so wooden shutters. And the exterior is cleaned and repaired, not painted. Everybody's okay with that one as well?
Yeah, it's always good to say don't paint the masonry.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and of course, number 5 here. Number 1 becomes wooden louvers. Okay.
Should we ever open this back up to discussion with the applicant to ask them if they have ideas about these shutters? I mean, I don't want to, you know.
You can if.
We have to have the,
two-thirds or if the commission
Yeah.
is okay.
Sure. It's your last meeting, Peter.
You do what you want to do.
This is it. You can.
it's the Peter show.
I'm just curious. I want to hear if he's like has any ideas about the shutter concept.
Well, it seems like we have approval from all the commissioners, so we can open it back up for discussion.
Yeah.
Commissioner Warren?
Mr. Griffin, do you have any thoughts about this, about obtaining shutters, whether they, I don't want to, you know, make a condition that they be wood shutters if there's a more durable material or something, but I think you're hearing that not just a smooth, hardy panel blank thing, but like, I guess we could condition it that you work with staff to achieve the stated goal. We don't have to pick a product.
So this is for the 2 windows that got filled into some shutters?
Yeah, is that the north and the south side, if I can orient myself? And
Correct.
Yeah, north and south.
And you're talking about the 4 smaller openings at the top of.
2, I believe it's 2, unless it's,
there's
2
it's
small
on the
ones.
front and the 2 on
Right.
the sides.
Yeah.
Are you-
One on each side.
I mean, frankly, like to do shutters on where the louvers are, where I filled it in kind of thing, I would rather just go buy some louvers and put them up there at that point, because I don't know, I don't think the cost, I mean, like galvanized louvers are not, it wouldn't be that major of a cost.
you're
I don't
saying
know
you would.
personally if it would look good to do shutters in the
Yeah, I think
more
I agree with
openings.
that.
The
that
input.
Commissioner Warren was talking about in that picture, it's more of a wood louver kind of look. I think that's what you were.
Oh, you're saying like I could lap something to make it
Yeah, I
look
think
like
it would
a
almost
louver.
be, easier to have a carpenter make something out of almost like the smallest scale hardy siding or something that provides the visual effect of a louver. And I think the best way to do this is for us to,
It's a good
I
idea.
guess myself, if it's my motion, to state the intent and then state that you'll work with staff to achieve that goal.
Okay.
Okay.
A false louver, basically.
Yeah,
Kind of
sir.
part.
Yes, yeah, not implying airflow, yeah. All right, where are we?
Making a motion.
I'm making a motion, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is this gonna be my last motion?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, you're getting a special deal.
Make it special.
All right, I move to approve case COA 2020, I'm just choked up. 2020 2023-015, subject to the following recommendations. That the larger window opening on each the north and the south side that have been infilled receive some sort of louver or shutter treatment, the details of which the applicant will work out with staff. That the smaller square openings on the towers, if you will, would receive same treatment, also to be worked out with staff, so that they have the same architectural language and color.
The exterior.
Yeah, that the exterior stone facade be cleaned and repaired and shall never, ever be painted. And that any changes or deviations from the approved COA shall be submitted to the MLC for review and approval.
And the stairs.
I didn't have
Allowed to
anything.
remain.
Well, it's,
Have to say that?
I don't think I have to add a motion regarding the stairs if
we're
this is not a
regarding the stairs.
formal, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just meet
these
those
are-
conditions.
There are no
Right.
conditions, so whatever you add here will be the
That's it,
conditions.
yeah.
Okay.
I have those three that you've listed.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
And actually, I'm going to go back and I'm going to call Chair Dawes. I'm going to rescind Mr. Warren's vote and call Chair Dawes first.
Okay. Yes.
And then we'll have the final vote. from-
Oh, yeah, yes, thank you.
The motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry we started late, guys.
Yes, I meant to apologize to the earlier applicants too. that weren't here.
Yeah, all righty.
Are there,
It was all me. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I am so sorry. I was in a staff retreat and they were talking about my department, so I had to